fuck dog.
Last time I'm doing this. Oh, good. Ready? 1, 2, 6.
Alright, first thing I like to comment on is the setup. You guys count off, you go 1, 2, 3, and then she bends down even further. What we need to have happen is we need the leader's butt to be under her to act as a leverage. Right now she's in a good position to flip the leader, but the leader is not in a good position to flip the follower here. And the other thing is, for you as a leader, I would say, is watch your posture. Right now, you're set up and your neck is slightly crooked. You should be having a nice neutral spine and even be maybe leaning back slightly. But because she's down a little bit further, that's going to ruin your posture and ruin the setup for the aerial. Alright, I have two more things, one for the leader and one for the follower. The one thing for the leader that I like to say, and this goes back to your setup, is that you need to use a lot more legs. Right now we saw you use a lot of your upper body, a lot of upper back. And so what we need, and I'll go ahead and demonstrate, is we need you as a leader to get your butt underneath hers. Alright? And that way you can use a whole lot more legs going through your trunk, through your abdominals, through your chest, and then you can follow through with your arms to be able to send her into that aerial right there. Alright? Rather right now what we have is not very, your legs aren't that active, and so she has to travel through your entire length of your chest, and you can see that you're ducking over to get rid of her. For the follower, seeing a little bit of where she is actually jumping, and so her legs, so she's jumping, she's leaving her legs behind, and then for a moment you see that she's tucking, but she doesn't hold the tuck. And what we need from the follower is less jumping and more, as soon as she's being lifted, a little bit more engagement, a little bit more of a soft tuck. An open tuck, just to define, is where, this is more of an open tuck, this would be a closed tuck. And we want more of an open shape to make that a nice round aerial, and that way hopefully it'll be easier for her to find the ground. Here's the final thing that we need to talk about. We need to talk about how we are releasing each other. Because for this back-to-back flip, both of our arms are tangled into each other. As a lead, I'm going underneath, she is on top. And this makes the release a little bit more difficult. My job as a leader is I want to think about sending the follower with some distance. It doesn't have to be a great amount, especially when you're beginning. However, we want to think about follow-through when we're throwing aerials. Yeah? Right now what we saw was that you're throwing her and you may have stayed tangled up, but you released her right here. And because she has this round energy that's going that way, she sort of tumbled, you released, and I think you rocked back a little bit too much on your heels. What I'd like for you to try is, as you're send her like this and try to get some space with the arms. Because my job is I want to catch her on the back of her triceps right there, okay, like above the elbow. And so another way to do this is a slow rollover, maybe even have a spot. I might have to demonstrate this at some other point. But right here, you're throwing her, your arms have to have a releasing motion, so then you're able to pick her up. And that way, even if she's rocking backwards, backwards, you're still able to catch her. Alright? Now for her, she may have had some trouble with this. Alright? But for the follower, the other thing is like, you will develop a sense of where the ground is. And when you do, you need to be able to pull your chest up. What happened is, so she's coming down into the ground right here, her chest is still down, and then she's rocking back on her heels and spilling backwards. But instead, she was like coming out of the air, finding the ground, setting the chest up, and actually giving the leader something to catch right here, it would have been a whole lot more successful. So a couple things. One, leader, your butt is underneath the followers. Leader, use your legs. Followers have a soft, engaged tuck, like we were talking about in the second clip. So we got using your legs, and on that release, both of us have to be able to relax and release those arms so that the leader can catch on the back of the triceps and she can provide some resistance. And by resistance, try to keep the flat of your chest wide. If you collapse, your arms are going to be a little bit more floppy as a follower, so try to pull them back. You can also think about engaging your back muscles right in here. You don't have to squeeze the shoulder blades, but just keep them nice and wide. So hopefully that helps. Good luck on the back-to-back.